Senator Bernie Sanders is hitting the road tomorrow on Labor Day to campaign for Hillary Clinton solo, and it'll be the first time he does that on her behalf. He'll appear at the AFL-CIO's annual breakfast in New Hampshire and at a high school. Both events are in the battleground state of New Hampshire, a state Clinton needs to win in November, and a state where Sanders was victorious in a big way during the primaries. Overall, Sanders, of course, won 22 states, pushed Clinton to the left, and developed an intensely loyal following. And he now hopes to bring those voters over to Clinton's side in her battle against Donald Trump. Senator Sanders joins me now from Burlington, Vermont. Senator Sanders, welcome back to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
Let me ask you about your revolution, and I put it this way. Why did you have so much success getting your voters to support you, but you've had less success in seeing your voters, for instance, pull an upset over Debbie Wasserman Schultz down in Florida, or we haven't seen more progressive upsets in primaries where your motivated base came out for you but not for others? How do you explain that?
Well, it's not quite accurate, Chuck. Actually, that gentleman in Florida, Mr. Canova, did a lot better in his district than I did when I was running, and I think he did pretty well. I think he got 43% of the vote, taking on a pillar of the establishment. I think you're going to see very strong candidates for the United States Congress in upstate New York and in the state of Washington win, I hope, in November. They both won their primaries. And I think you're going to see candidates for state legislature all over this country, for city council, for school board. What the political revolution is about is transforming America, is getting millions of people involved in the political process, is understanding it's not just the president, but it is people coming together and saying we need a government that represents all of us and not just the 1%. And that's not going to happen overnight, Chuck, but I think it is happening.
You know, Senator, one of your supporters, Mike Figueredo, hosts a progressive, called a Humanist Report podcast, and he was really upset at you personally because he actually thought you abandoned Mr. Canova. He thought, where were you? You didn't campaign for him. And he even said, look, that feeling you felt when Elizabeth Warren abandoned you and chose to run away from you during the Massachusetts primary, that's what Tim Canova is feeling right now. What do you say to him or any other Sanders supporters that feel as if you didn't do enough?
Well, you know, there are a lot of things happening in this country, things happening in my own state, and work that I have got to do. I can't do everything. But I would say that our supporters, as I understand it, contributed about $600,000 to Mr. Canova's campaign. That is a very significant contribution. I think what you are going to be seeing in the weeks and months to come, Chuck, is me playing an active role, not only trying to make sure that Donald Trump does not become president of the United States, but that, in fact, we create a movement for this campaign and for the future, which creates a government in which our government responds to the needs not of the Koch brothers and wealthy campaign contributors, but to ordinary people.
One of the things I think Secretary Clinton is going to need from you is probably help with millennials. I want to put up an interesting little poll graphic from our NBC Wall Street Journal poll at the beginning of August. And overall, the head-to-head, we had this was in our early August poll. Clinton was at 43, Trump 34, and Gary Johnson and Jill Stein were combined for 15%. But among those aged 18 to 34, Jill Stein and Gary Johnson actually together get 29% of folks under 35. That's more than Trump. Clinton sits at 37. A lot of those folks are your supporters, as you know. Jill Stein is making a direct appeal to your supporters, and so is Gary Johnson. What do you tell those folks that right now have been wooed by them successfully?
Well, this is what I would say, and what this campaign is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about the real issues impacting the American people. Either Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump is going to become president of the United States. And there is no question to my mind that Hillary Clinton is far, far, far and away the superior candidate. Look at the issues. Which candidate is going to be raising the minimum wage to a livable wage? Which candidate is going to be making public colleges and universities tuition free? Which candidate is going to do something about the great environmental crisis we face, which is climate change, which is Hillary Clinton? And which candidate doesn't even acknowledge the reality of climate change, which is Donald Trump? Which candidate is going to create millions of jobs, rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure, is going to deal effectively with immigration reform and criminal justice reform. So I think on all of those issues, what people have got to say is, this is not about Trump. It's not about Clinton. It is about the American people. And on all of those issues, Chuck, to my mind, Hillary Clinton is far and away the superior candidate. And I hope people see that.
Do you think Gary Johnson should be in the debates?
I think they have, generally speaking, my view is that if people reach a certain level, you can debate about what that level is. I think it's, 15%?
You think that's
they
fair?
should be in the debates.
But you think that level, that 15% is a fair metric?
It's probably too high.
You think it should be lower
Probably
than
should
10?
be lower than that.
Okay. Let me ask you, let me play for you perhaps one of the more famous sound bites from your primary campaign. Here it is.
The American people are sick and tired of hearing about your damn emails.
Thank you. Me too. Me too.
Well, Senator Sanders, that happened almost a year ago. That was an October 2015 debate. Here we are in September of 2016. You may not care about them, but a lot of people do. Do you have any advice for Hillary Clinton on how she should handle this? Could she handle it better? You've struggled with the foundation. You've thought the foundation was problematic. Do you think she should shut the foundation down?
Chuck, you know what the latter part of my statement, which doesn't get recorded very much, is what the American people want to hear about are the real issues impacting their lives, why the middle class is declining, income and wealth inequality, why we are the only major country not to guarantee health care to all people. That's what I believed then. That's what I believe now. Chuck, every other major country on earth, 50 miles away from where I am right now in Burlington, Vermont, guarantees health care to all people as a right. The top 1/10 of 1% now owns as much wealth as the bottom 90%. Those are the issues I believe we need to focus on. Politicians and the media. Let the American people get involved in that debate. And I think at the end of that discussion, people will see Clinton as the superior candidate.
I understand that, but you can't govern if you don't have trust. So can she rebuild trust by pledging something to do that? Is it shutting down the foundation? What would you tell her to do?
Well, I would certainly suggest that as President of the United States, she should cease all operations, all contact with the Clinton Foundation.
Does that mean shutting it down or just not being involved? Can you truly
have
have
at the very least, she should, at the very least, she should not be involved, at the very least.
And would you feel more comfortable if it just didn't exist during her time as president?
I don't know enough. They do a lot of good things with AIDS and so forth, so I can't, definitively answer that. But I think, Chuck, what we have got to do as a nation is have a very serious debate on the enormous crises facing this country. That is where our focus has got to be.
Senator Bernie Sanders on the campaign trail again tomorrow. We'll be watching. Enjoy Labor Day and enjoy the campaign trail. Stay safe, sir. Good to see you.